Hey everybody, this is Dr. Joe Borio, this week's Thought Flash. And as I mentioned last week, Happy New Year. We went over a lot of great advice about setting goals and trying to get that new year started, not to carry all the baggage in from last year. Remember that failures are your experiments. So think about that. I experimented last year with a few things. I certainly learned, maybe some of us more clearly than others, what I definitely don't want to do anymore, right? And that's okay. And then move forward into this next year. Today, what I wanted to talk about in practice, a little bit more on management of the practice, is recalls. There's 2 times of the year that are really important to nail recalls, and that is mid-January and mid-September to late September, mid-January to late January. Now, what is a recall? Recall is a system in which you're going to go back 12 months, not to the last recall, 12 months from that date to go back, and anyone that's now inactive in your practice, and give them a phone call with some level of an incentive to come back into the practice, to re-engage as a member of your practice. That's what a recall is. Recalls are typically done on telephone. Now let's talk about cost, because I know when I talk to a lot of clients, money always becomes a factor, and recalls often are done with postcards or letters or different forms of mailing, and that can really get expensive now. You're talking 50 cents just for stamps, you're talking the envelope, you're talking the paper or the stationery, now you're talking about the administrative cost to package that and to get it to the post office. So mailers can be really expensive. Also, there's so much junk mail that comes in. You are literally getting 1 second of a flash. You're really getting a 1 second flash on an envelope or a postcard, especially postcards. I'm not saying postcards aren't great. There's a lot of great outfits companies that sell different forms of postcards. Visual, I know Bill Ested has a great product. I don't use his, but I know that it's great. He uses a lot of visuals. Those are good. If you're going to do a mailer, they're going to look at something quick. You're going to either end up in the trash, or they're going to go, hey, it's time, time to come in. So I'm not saying not to use those ever, but I want you to be realistic. If you're doing a recall for 12 months, there's a lot of people that are going to be recalled. So I don't like to use mailers for an annual recall. I do like to use a mailer, an envelope, or whatever for something that maybe became recently inactive, because there's a lot fewer of those, and you have a much better chance. It's worth that investment. You're not going to have a high percentage of recalls on the phone, but certainly, so you don't want to spend an enormous amount. Your return on investment, your administrative costs you want to keep low, so that your return of investment becomes higher on that. Okay, so talking about that, you're going to need a script on a recall, number 1, and number 2, you're going to need some people to do recalls. Most offices that I know are really strapped with time. Your staff is already very busy, so now you tell them, hey, look, I got a great idea. We're going to recall. We're going to call 100 people or 200 people, or how many people are you going to do a recall on for 12 months? Maybe you even want to go further than that. Maybe you haven't done a recall in years. Well, hell, maybe you want to go back 3 or 4 years. That's okay too. But they're going to be, oh my God, they're not going to be really that excited. So what do we do, and what I'd recommend that you do, is call up a local college, a community college, just a regular college, university. Call up the high school, talk to the job placement and or career development center or the guidance counselor, and tell them, look, I'm looking for a couple of students that are achievers, students that have initiative, and then you need to bring them in, and you need to bring them in. You can pay them obviously a smaller amount. They're going to be thrilled with what you pay them, and a lesser amount, and then you're going to have them make calls, and you're going to give them a script. So you first have to interview these people, these young adults, to make sure that they have the right personality for the telephone. You cannot just give somebody something and give them a script and they're going to go, hi, this is Linda from Dr. Joe's office. Dr. Joe is looking over your file, is very concerned about your condition. You haven't been in a while. I mean, you don't want that type of person. Remember, a smile can be heard over the telephone. So you want somebody that has a smile, that's engaging, that's happy, that can make 100 calls and be just as happy as on that first one as they are on the last one. I'll tell you, one of our staff that's no longer with us, she's since moved to Pennsylvania. Her name is Tammy Quill. And Tammy Quill is probably the best person I've ever had on the telephone, because I could call her in the morning at the office and I could call her at the end of the day, and she was just as cheery, just as happy to be there, at least on the telephone, sounded that way throughout the whole day. That's the type of person you want. So let's say now you find that right person, you find that person to make the recall. Depending on how many people you get, you might want 2. Times to do the recall. You want to do your recalls when people are coming home from work. So later afternoon to evening, no later than 8:30 is pushing it, maybe at the latest 8:15. We usually do our recalls from about 6 to 8:15, 5 to 8:15. Remember, a little bit later, you're going to have a better chance. You want to get hold of these people. We do 3 calls before we leave a message. So we do not leave a message on their machine or on their voicemail unless it's their 3rd phone call. So you got a whole list. What you do is you just put 1, 2, and then 3. You just put a cross between the 2, and that's the 3rd one. You could cross them off the list. The other people, you're hoping to get hold of them. So you've hired the right staff. When you hire that right staff, when you hear that right person that has the right personality, have them sit through your Monday night X-ray review. Have them sit through your new patient case review so that they have a clear understanding of what chiropractic is. Give them the opportunity to understand what your mission is, what your purpose is. Make them part of your program. Have them come to an office meeting and let them look at the x-rays and explain to them, Linda, I know you're only going to be here part-time. I know this might just seem like a simple job to you, but I want to explain to you what my mission is, what my purpose is, how important this job is. These people have this type of illness going on in their spine, and how sick are they getting, and what's happening. And listen, so you have the opportunity to try to get these people in so they're not sick. If they're people that are under care in your office too, that's even great. You might find a couple of women that are looking for work, and that might work out great as well. So you're going to call them between the hours, let's say 5:30 and 8:15. You're definitely going to need to hire somebody, make them part of your mission, make them part of your purpose. It should be outside people in to do it, and you want to print out at least a minimum of that last recall. So you might be calling those people twice, because the recall in January is picking up some of the people that you already called in September. I hope I'm not making this too complicated, okay? So that's really how that recall works. Now, they're going to do recalls 2 to 3 weeks out. It'll take them 2 to 3 weeks out because they're only going to be making calls 2, maybe 3 hours a day. You're not going to call them on Friday, you're not going to call them on Saturday, and you're not going to call them on Sunday. You're going to call them on Monday night through Thursday. Monday night's a tough night to get hold of people. I find the best nights to call are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we have our staff, the temporary staff, come in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you make sure that they're coming in between the hours of, like I said, 5:30, 8:15. Get them in there a few minutes early, do a little huddle with them, get them ready to go. They should take a break every 30 minutes. 30 minutes, they should take 5-minute break, get out of their position, maybe have something for them to read, maybe have something for them to do for a couple of minutes, just to take them out of the zone, because it can be a lot of burnout to get them on the phone. And then you need a script. Remember, the script needs to be that of concern. So it's going to be, hi, Linda, this is whoever's making the call. This is Karen. I wanted to call you out of concern. Dr. Joe Borio wanted me to call. He was looking over your file. He was very concerned about your case and your condition, and you haven't received care or an adjustment in a very long time. So today we're calling you to get you in for an appointment. Now, I have an opening tomorrow at 3:15, so what I'd like to do is put you down tomorrow at 3:15 on your normal time, the time you used to come in, so that you can come in, get back in cycle, and get back under care. So don't ask them, just tell them. They'll be very happy to say, no thank you, or that time's not going to work for me, or they might address some areas of concern about something that happened before. That's great. Red flag it, give it to you're going to get that, your staff is going to indicate to give that to you, and then the doctor can make the phone call. Listen, we're running out of time, guys. Our recall is really important. January 15th, always. September 15th forward, always. I want you guys to enjoy serving the people. Get excited about this new year. A lot of great things are going to happen this year. We're going to be in Vegas in January 21st, 22nd. We're going to be in CalJam in early February. We're going to be in Boston. We're going to be in Philadelphia. We're going to be right at my office in Syracuse. Make sure you sign up for awesome, life-changing events. Remember, serve those people well. May your innate flow from above down, guys. Have a great week.
My best friend gave me the best.